This is one fat boy, and here are my predictions for the 23-24 season best NBA teams. So the teams that I think are the championship teams for next season are Denver, Phoenix, and Boston. For the Denver Nuggets, I expect Denver to play very similar to how they did last year and not to decrease in their level of play that they were playing at for the majority of the season, as the majority of their team is back. They are the standard in the NBA, and the NBA has to reach the bar that they set, which is very high. They have Jokic and Murray, who both show up in the playoffs and during the regular season. And Jokic is the best player in the world, so you're always going to be one of the top teams in the league if you have the best player in the league on your team. There's no major weaknesses in Denver's game except for an athletic shot blocking big, but you really don't need that if you play as a team of five. And also, they can maybe just use one more guard who can handle the ball a lot, take some pressure off Murray and Jokic, but overall, they don't really need that either. So I expect them to be a very good team next year with a deep run in the playoffs. The next team I will talk about is the Phoenix Suns. And Phoenix made a shrewd trade deal to get Beal on the Suns. So now the Suns have a bunch of top-tier talent on their team, and this will attract free agents, as it has already have, to their team to fill out their roster. They have quality players on their bench, and the top three scorers in the game were very quality scorers in Durant, Booker, and Beal. And now if Gordon, Watanabe, and resigned Lee and Okogie, there's some decent bench players that they can involve throughout the season and build more cohesion. So I expect their offense to be probably one of the best in the league, if not number one. Their defense may struggle throughout the year, but with Vogel as their new coach, who has put together some decent defenses with the Lakers and the Pacers, I expect the defense to develop, and come prime time, the playoffs come together. Their offense shouldn't ever struggle throughout the year. And I expect Ayton to improve, because if Roy Hibbert can be at an all-star caliber player with Vogel, I expect Ayton, who has more talent than Hibbert, to make that some sort of jump this year. So I expect the Suns to be very good this year. The third team I have favored winning a championship, which I think is the best team in the East, is the Boston Celtics. I think they improved with their Porzingis trade, as that improves their front court. So now they have Horford, Williams, and Porzingis. And as long as all three are healthy for the playoffs, they should be able to make a deep run. They also have the majority of the same pieces, minus Smart and Williams, but you still have Tatum and Brown, who are very good players. So that is a continuity that the Boston have. And with the same coach for now, in his first full year with a training camp, I expect Mazzulla to really hone his skills. If not, Boston will struggle. But I think with all the talent on their team, they have a lot of top-tier talent, that they should be able to be one of the best teams in the East, and I think is the favorite to make it out of the East. Next four teams I will talk about are contenders in winning the championship. I don't see them as the absolute favorite, but they are teams that you have to win against in order to get to the finals. So I see these teams as the Lakers, the Heat, the Bucks, and the Warriors. First team I will talk about are the LA Lakers, and their success is really dependent on the health of AD and LeBron, as the Lakers were one of the best teams after the All-Star break record-wise, and that was mostly due to LeBron and AD being healthy. And then they were able to retain their talent, as they traded a lot of their players and got players that actually fit their system, and now they're able to retain and replace the ones that left. For example, Vincent now replaced Schroeder, and Cam Reddish replaced Walker IV. So they pretty much have the same team with improvements. They got Taurean Prince, which I think makes them a better team during the regular season, as that's just a little bit more depth. So in case you have injuries, you have quality players. So I don't expect the Lakers to be in the play-ins. I expect them to be towards the top half of the Western Conference. They won't be in the play-ins. The furthest they'll go is the 6th seed. Well, the lowest they'll go is the 6th seed, but I expect them to be in there. But this team is really dependent on their health, and that's why I don't see them winning the championship, as if one small thing goes wrong for LeBron or AD, health-wise, they are going to struggle mightily. Next team I'll talk about is the Miami Heat, and this is all really dependent on Eric Spoelstra, as he is, I would say, the best coach in the NBA right now. He's able to throw a bunch of things at teams, and he's able to sneak some wins out in the playoffs. So pretty much if it's like something brand new, like the zone, like Milwaukee couldn't solve it, Boston couldn't really solve it, you just kind of steal 1 or 2 games that way, then really just have to beat the other team like 2 or 3 more times, while they have to beat you 4 times. So just things like that, how Spoelstra's make adjustments, that's what makes Miami Heat really good. Also, they have Jimmy Butler and Bam, and as long as you have those two, they really fit the system well. So you can just throw a bunch of guys that kind of believe in the system around them, and that helps them get deep in the playoffs. Like 2 finals appearances in like the last 4 years, but it was 2020 and 2023, then Eastern Conference Finals appearance. It's like they decent team when it comes to playoffs, as they are a tough team to get out of the playoffs. And this is because they play as a team. They are 5 people on the floor who are all contributing very well. That's why Denver won, like most teams in the past, like the Spurs, the Warriors, the Pistons, when they won their championship. It was because they played as a team, which is something that the Heat do, and that's why I view them as contenders next year. Will I see them finishing top 4 in the Eastern Conference? Maybe not, but as long as they make the playoffs some way, somehow, they are hard to get out of the playoffs. The next team I will talk about are the Milwaukee Bucks. I think their biggest improvement is that they'll have a new coach, as Budenholzer is not a great coach, and as long as you make adjustments when needed, that is a very big improvement. So they do have a lot of talent. It is the same talent in Middleton, Holiday, Giannis, and Lopez, and Bobby Portis. Like, those are your main 5 guys. So pretty much your whole team is based around them. But their supporting cast, I think, is not the greatest. Like, you have Jay Crowder, you got Grayson Allen, but those aren't the greatest quality role players. So they're very top heavy. Like, you do have to respect those 5. They can carry you through the regular season, no problem. Like, they will be a top at least 3 team in the East. It's just how will they perform in the playoffs. Like, you do have to go through them in order to win in the Eastern Conference to get to the finals. So that's why I have them as contenders. But it's going to come down to their coach and how he can make adjustments when it counts. The last team I will talk about are the Golden State Warriors. And the reason why they're so good is they're able to retain their core. So Curry, Thompson, and Green, they've had them for the last 10 years. And they know how each other plays, and they know what makes them so good. And that's why they continue to be a threat in the playoffs, even if they don't finish the regular season like very high in the standings. But I think this year they will. And that's mostly due to the fact that they've now gained Chris Paul, who improves every team he's been on. You can just check his track record on the Suns and the Thunder, as he's raised the floor for all those players on the team. So expect Paul to really take control of the second unit for the Warriors and kind of make sure, well, they don't lose on the road as much. And then, 2, they're able to just maintain their leads if they get them early, or just get him back into the game with the unit he runs. And then Poole, was kind of a distraction, just kind of didn't fit the system after he won his championship, got paid, so it's probably a good loss for them. And then one thing that I will say that the Warriors will struggle with, though I don't have them as championship favorites, is that they are small. You can't rely all your rebounding on Looney, so if they do run to like the Lakers again in the playoffs, I do expect the Lakers to win if they're healthy, and the Denver to win because they're all so big, and they'll kind of steamroll the Warriors just through like rebounding, which is a big thing in playoffs. So that's why I don't have the Warriors as like championship favorites. It's just due to their size, but it's hard to win 4 games as purely off your 3-point shooting. But the Warriors are a team that you have to be in the playoffs in order to get to the finals. These are my dark horse picks that I can see making a run in the playoffs, which I see these teams as the Grizzlies, the Knicks, and the Kings. The first team I will talk about are the Memphis Grizzlies. So they were able to gain Marcus Smart and Derrick Rose, which I think are good locker room people to have, as I think Memphis just needed one or two of those people on their team, which they got. And now they have more guard play, as Morant will be out for the first 25 games. But these are veteran guards that will help run your offense, and they play hard each game that they're able to play. They're also very good at rebounding the ball. That's why, especially in years past, like they weren't the greatest offensive team, but they were able to just get so many shots up due to the rebounding and limit the offensive rebounds for the other team. As the most important thing in basketball is to have the ball, as you're able to score if you have the ball. So that's something Memphis does well. And as long as they stay healthy, as Adams is one of the best rebounders in the league, and with Jackson Jr. is able to defend as well as he does, makes it easier to grab all the rebounds. They are able to retain their core in Bane, Morant, and Jackson Jr. So Memphis has been always pretty good in the regular season, as they've been finishing top 3 the last 2 years in the Western Conference. So I don't expect that to vary too far off. Like, they're going to be top 5. I feel like for sure they shouldn't fall down to the play-ins. And this is just due to them just hustling, which is not something that every team does during the regular season, but something that they do. So just starting out high in the playoffs is an advantage, so they may be able to just sneak 1 or 2 rounds and get to the Western Conference Finals. But I just feel like they're just going to run into a matchup like against Denver or the Suns, where they're going to struggle. The next team I will talk about are the Sacramento Kings. And with the playoff experience that they just got, I think that will unleash a new tier for them, as they also maintained most of the same people from last year. So they're able to go forward with the same group, and now have learned and now know how to win more games after a whole year of winning more games they probably did like the last 2 or 3 years, and then making the playoffs and going 7 games for the Warriors. Like, this is a quality team. And this is mostly due to the fact that they are a high-power offense. May not be the best defensive team in the league, but if you're scoring 120, that means just don't give up 120 points to the other team. And also they play very fast, which gives you easy buckets, and then that's able to open up other things in your game. But just playing with a lot of speed is something that they will do, is mostly due to the fact that they are one of the younger teams in the league too. Their core is still young, so just being able to play very fast, and then also they have durable players, so if you're able to maintain your top tier talent on the floor, not them being sidelined due to injuries, you're able to win more games that way as well. The last team I will talk about are the New York Knicks. So they are a very scrappy team led by Tom Thibodeau, and you have Brunson, who follows that, and Randall, who I think has been playing much better. He's usually every other year's a good season, but I think this is the first time he'll have back-to-back good years, so I do have faith in that. They also have a solid 7 players. So you have Barrett, Brunson, Randall, Hart. Now you got Dante DiVincenzo. You have Mitchell Robinson. I believe you still have Grimes too. But there is a solid lineup there who all kind of play with a lot of heart, which in the Eastern Conference, who I don't think are going to be that great this upcoming season. I think just the style of which they play helps them win games. That's why they beat the Cavs. They just kind of worked harder and just had better plays and setups and just more experience overall, which I think with the new experience of the playoffs and just the team they have, it'll just be a hard team to get through in the playoffs. But I think a team that they'll struggle with, again, is the Heat, as they kind of play the same way and they're just better at it. So as long as the Knicks don't come across the Heat, I think they actually have a chance to getting to the conference finals, possibly the finals. They just match up super well against Boston. It really just kind of depends how hot the Knicks are in the playoffs. Thank you for watching, and as always, okay. 1, 2, 3. Thank you for watching, And for the upcoming season, I think it'll be a very fun one to watch. I'll try to post my predictions for the spreads and over-unders as often as I can next year. And thank you for watching.